of the Orange City Council for Monday, September 9th, 2024 to order. Kaylee, will you take roll, please?
Yes.
Hi, Lisa.
Councilmember Papello is absent. Vice Mayor Thompson.
Here.
Councilmember Stafford.
Here.
Councilmember Grimm.
Here.
Councilmember Marks.
Here.
Councilmember Darms. Here. Mayor Blair.
Here. The invocation tonight is by our good old buddy, Mike Carroll. He's the senior chaplain for the Volusia Sheriff's Office.
Thank you, sir.
Not quite all the way retired.
Still working on it. Thank you. It's always a privilege to be here. Thank you, sir. I see
You got my call.
I got your memo. Father in heaven, we are grateful. We thank you for this beautiful city. You have blessed it. You've caused it to grow. And you've caused it to prosper. And we thank you so much for that. Continue to bless this city and watch over it and keep it safe and protected. Thank you for our incredible first responders who are even now, as we're in here, they're out there. Thank you for them. Continue to protect them and watch over them and keep them safe and their families as well. And let your peace rest upon them at the end of their shift. Father, guide the decisions of this council. Give them wisdom, give them understanding, give them insight, give them creative solutions. And we thank you for that in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, sir.
All right. Item number I guess, right? One.
That's one.
One,
Roman
yeah,
numeral
it's usually numbers, right?
Numeral one.
Isn't it usually numbers?
It will be, and that's Roman numeral one.
Gotcha, Okay, item number one, special public hearing on adoption of millage rate and budget for fiscal year 2024/2025. Mayor's opening statement, the City of Orange City intends to adopt a millage rate and budget for fiscal year 2024/2025. The rolled back rate is 6.5926 mils. The proposed millage rate is 7.1000 mils, which represents a 7.70% increase over the rolled back rate as provided by the property appraiser of Volusia County. So, we're gonna entertain ordinance.
Yep.
You wanna go ahead and read that, please?
Absolutely. We
Okay.
have ordinance number 684, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orange City, Florida, certifying the millage rate for fiscal year 2024 through 2025 on all taxable property located within the City of Orange City, Volusia County, Florida, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
And Devlin Moore is up.
Typically, we would read the second ordinance as
Oh,
well.
afterwards?
Yeah, would you mind reading the second ordinance?
Yes.
Thank you.
Oh, okay, yes.
To ordinance number 685, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orange City, Florida, adopting the annual budget for the year 2024 through 2025 fiscal year, beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025, authorizing subsequent amendments by resolution, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you so much. Devlin Moore, Finance Director. Tonight's special hearing is being held pursuant to Florida Statute, Chapter 200, Section 65. It's hard to believe that we're already quickly approaching the end of the fiscal year 25 budget process. The process kicked off on May 14th with the budget, citizen budget input session, followed by staff presentation on July 9th in preparation for the council to set the proposed millage rate, which happened on July 23rd. On August 13th, there was a budget workshop, and then tonight here we are having our first public hearing. The second public hearing will be held on Tuesday, September 24th in the council chambers at 6:30 p.m. Prior to that regular meeting, however, staff's going to ask that the CRA convene at 6 p.m. to adopt its portion of the proposed budget. We'll begin with the millage ordinance number 684. On July 23rd, City Council set the proposed millage rate at 7.1 mils. That represents a 7.7% increase over the rollback rate of 6.5926. Then shortly thereafter, staff released the proposed budget document, and that was balanced with a millage rate of 6.9899, which represented an increase over the rollback rate of 6.03%. During the budget hearing, the budget workshop, council requested that the millage rate be dropped further, and in doing so, staff was able to get to 6.8691, which is a 4.19% increase over the rollback rate. That would require 4 votes. Now, rollback rate is a revenue neutral rate that would generate the same amount of property tax revenue as the prior year, excluding new construction and property improvements. The rate of 6.8691 ensures that recurring revenues cover fully the recurring expenditures. Dropping the rate any further than that would require staff to look at the budget and to identify areas to cut in order to ensure that the recurring revenues cover the recurring expenditures. Here you had taxable values for the city since 2008. Excuse me. The total taxable values for tax year 2024 is $1.29 billion. It represents a 12% increase over last year. We typically don't show historic graphs going back to 2008, essentially 17 years, but this chart really shows you the impact of the Great Recession of 2007, 2008 on the property values here at Orange City. It wasn't until 2020 that the city reached the pre-recession property values back in 2008, and finally we're kind of climbing above that line going forward. So this slide is called What Could Have Been. The blue boxes indicate what actually happened, what the total taxable values are for the city. And the green lines indicate what could have been if the recession hadn't happened. And essentially all we did was we took 2009, 2010, 2011, and 2012, and rather than showing a decline in property values, we added a conservative 5% increase for each year. And in doing so, and in applying the actual increases going forward from 2013 on, the property values in the city would be actually double what they are today. $1.3 billion more in property value, which means higher revenues and most likely lower millage. Here we have the new taxable values for new construction in Orange City. In 2024, new construction totaled $35 million. That's a 13% increase over last year. And once again, you can see the impact of the Great Recession on new construction in the city. This slide demonstrates 2 data points. The blue line is the millage rate that has been adopted by council over the last 10 years, and then the green bars indicate the amount of revenue generated based on that millage rate. The proposed rate of 6.8691 represents a 3.5% decrease compared to the current rate of 7.1209. The proposed rate is the lowest rate since 2011, and it is projected to generate about $7.9 million in tax revenue. The proposed decrease can be accomplished in part because of new construction, other revenues, seen increases in other revenues, and in the city having healthy reserve funds, which allowed the augmentation of revenues to fund non-recurring capital. So using those fund balances to fund some of the non-recurring capital that's in the budget. The average assessed value for a single-family residential unit in tax year 2024 increased by 8% from approximately $125,000 to $135,000. It's important to note that the Save Our Homes provision limits the assessed annual increase of homesteaded properties to 3%. So what this slide is showing is 2 scenarios. a non-homesteaded house and a homesteaded house at a average taxable value. Looking at the not homesteaded property first, a millage rate of 6.8691 in comparison to the total taxable value of $134,000 would generate $924 a year or $77 a month in taxes to the city. That represents a $38 a year increase in taxes. Now, for the majority of the homes here in Orange City, actually about 80%, the homestead is going to be what's going to be applicable. So when you apply that cap, the average taxable value is limited to $128,000. And at a millage rate of 6.8691, taxes generated to the city will be $880 a year, $73 a month. And it actually represents a slight decrease in the taxes to the city. So what that essentially means is, although the proposed rate is above the rollback rate, for homesteaded properties, they will not see an increase in their taxes for next fiscal year as it relates to the city's portion of the tax bill. Orange City is not the only taxing authority that is on the tax bill or the trim notice. Orange City makes up about a third of the taxes on the tax bill. The County of Volusia and the school board make up essentially the other 2/3, along with some ancillary taxing authorities, including the West Volusia Hospital Authority, the St. Johns River Water Management District, and the Florida Inland Navigation. They're also on the tax bill and make up the total mills. Now we're going to go into discussing the budget ordinance number 685. Despite ongoing inflation and personnel needs as well as capital needs, the fiscal year 25 budget is quite robust while managing to reduce the millage rate, which has been a council goal for the last several years. I'm going to start by looking at the fund balances. So this is a little different than what I normally show. I normally show the projected fund balance at the end of the fiscal year. This is actually the projected fund balance after appropriation. So this means that I've taken the fund balances and applied what the proposed budget is including. So with that, you have the facility construction fund that's going to have a fund balance of approximately $7.9 million. The general fund is going to be at $4.9 million, which is slightly above the policy threshold for fund balance. Then we have a new fund here, the capital improvement fund, with a reserve balance of $4.3 million. The utility enterprise funds total 4.2, and then the impact fee funds total 1.5. And we have that further broken down to the fire department at $490,000, transportation at $467,000, parks at $340,000, and the police department $159,000. The stormwater enterprise fund has a projected beginning balance of for next year of $487,000, and then the special revenue funds total $270,000. Special revenue funds include the tree bank at $201,000, the solid waste fund at $36,000, forfeiture fund at $32,000, and the street lighting at a whopping $1,200. The CRA fund shows a zero fund balance because we're mandated to reappropriate the fund balance as part of the budget process. So we'll see that here a little bit later in the presentation. So this is a snapshot of the general fund budget. You'll see that the general fund, the top line, the proposed general fund budget is balanced at $24.2 million. And what I've done here is I've backed out the transfer to establish the CIP fund, or the capital improvement fund, in order to give you a more of a apples to apples comparison. So once you back out that transfer to the capital improvement fund, you're looking at $19.9 million, which does represent a 25% increase compared to the fiscal year 24 adopted budget. And that's primarily attributed to the addition of new personnel, pay adjustments, and the purchase of a new fire engine. There have been a number of changes since the publication of the proposed budget, most of which we discussed during the budget workshop. Those include reducing the proposed millage from 6.9899 to 6.8691, the establishment of a reserve balance in the capital improvement fund for future capital needs, the purchase of a replacement fire engine 67, the addition of an executive assistant for the fire department, as well as an addition of a parks maintenance specialist. And then there were some other various adjustments that needed to be made, such as adjusting for property liability and workers' comp premiums that came in. Here we have a snapshot of the revenue for the general fund. A large portion of the city's revenue for the general fund comes from ad valorem taxes at 7.9 million. Ad valorem taxes account for about 44% of total recurring revenue. Next one is going to be the use of fund balance at 5.9 million. That is a transfer in from fund balance, and that money is being transferred over to the capital improvement fund to establish that reserve balance, as well as pay for the fire engine and other non-recurring capital outlay. Other taxes account for 3 million. DeBerry Fire Services accounts for 2.7 million. Permits, fees, and assessments are 1.9 million. And intergovernmental revenues are 1.6 million. Miscellaneous revenues and our fund transfers in, charges for services, and fines and forfeitures account for 1.3 million. Here we have the expenditures for the general fund. Public safety is the largest expenditure at 7.8 million. Public safety makes up approximately 43% of all recurring expenditure. Then we have the interfund transfer out. That consists of 6.6 million to the capital improvement fund, and then a small transfer of 104,000 to the building and safety fund. Then we have general government at 4.1 million, DeBerry Fire Services at 2.4, fleet and facilities at 1.2 million, streets and sidewalks at 1.1 million, parks at 195,000, and then the city has a very conservative amount of debt service in the general fund, and the total repayment for that debt service for next fiscal year is 168,000. Here we have some highlights concerning the general fund budget. It was again balanced with a reduced millage rate. It's a balance with that large transfer in from reserves. Recurring revenues are sufficient to meet recurring expenditures. It continues to fund sponsorships and contributions. It includes 100,000 for contingency, and it provides for pay adjustments for all city employees. The budget also funds a number of new positions, 6 to be exact, a human resources generalist for administration, a senior procurement analyst for the finance department, a school resource officer for the police department. That school resource officer will be assigned to University High School beginning in July 2025. There's 2 executive assistants budgeted, one for fire, one for public works, and then a parks maintenance specialist. The proposed budget also includes a reclassification of a vacant police officer position to property and evidence custodian. Changing gears now, we're going to look at the capital funds, which total $6.7 million. The largest portion is going to be $6.6 million in capital improvement. I've broken that out into 2 lines there, the $4.3 million being reserved for future projects, and then $2.3 million for actual capital needs. Then you have the impact fees for police, fire, and transportation. Those total $35,000. There's nothing scheduled within those funds for next fiscal year, so any revenues that do come in will be reserved for future fund use. The culture and recreation impact fees includes $46,000. That's for a pickup truck for the new maintenance specialist position. You'll see that there's a large amount in the fiscal year 24 amended of 5.6 million. Excuse me, 7.6 million. Much of that is actually going to carry forward as part of the carry forward process in January. Any unspent monies that are related to the Rhode Island traffic circle or design of Coleman Park, Valentine Park, the police station, fire station 68, public works building, all those funds will carry forward. So lots of activity going on in the general government arena. The capital funds provide for $4.34 million in reserves. That includes the monies that are in the impact fee funds that are being reserved. That's why that number is different than the 4.3 that I've mentioned multiple times before. 1.2 million for fleet and the fire truck, 657,000 for streets and sidewalks, and includes non-IT equipment at 353,000, IT equipment at 85,000, and improvements to city buildings at 68,000. Some of the highlights for the capital funds include, but are definitely not limited to, the replacement of 6 vehicles and the addition of 1 new vehicle, the continued lease of the patrol motorcycle, the purchase of a new fire engine 67, sidewalk and drainage improvements along East Lansdowne Avenue, and that project is augmented also with some funds from the Stormwater Fund. There's 3 road resurfacing projects and then equipment for public safety, parks, and public works. Onto the enterprise funds. So the enterprise funds total $10 million, the largest of which is the utilities revenue fund, which is balanced at $8 million, or 8.1 million. That represents an increase of 1.6% over the current adopted budget. Then the renewal and replacement fund, alternate water fund, and the water and wastewater connection fee funds total $733,000. Those funds are all used for capital infrastructure improvements. And then you have the stormwater fund balanced at approximately 1.3 million, and that represents a 3.8% increase. Again, a large number, 39 million. A lot of that is accounts for the huge projects that are ongoing by the utility across the city. Some highlights concerning the enterprise funds. The utilities fund is balanced with no transfer in from prior earnings and includes $83,000 for contingency. It sets aside $224,000 for future fund balance. It has capital equipment and infrastructure budget of $875,000. It includes $341,000 for renewal and replacement activities. It funds 1 new lift station mechanic position and reclasses a utility field specialist position to utility locator. Then the stormwater fund is balanced with a $307,000 transfer in from fund balance, and it funds $665,000 in capital outlay, including $500,000 for the Shattuck Avenue stormwater improvements. You have some other funds as well. These are all special revenue funds, which include solid waste, CRA, street lighting, Kentucky Avenue, tree bank, and building safety. Those proposed budgets total $2.3 million. Primary highlights from special revenue fund is that the CRA includes $20,000 for facade grants, as well as $924,000 for future projects. So a large portion of that is going to be the reappropriation of fund balance from prior year to the next. And that actually concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Does anyone have any questions for Devlin? Good presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Very clear. Okay, with no questions, at this point, I'm going to open up the public hearing. If there's anyone from the public who'd like to speak to the budget, please come forward and do so. Seeing none, I'll close that portion and bring it back to the council for further discussion and action.
I'd like to make a motion to accept ordinance number 684, setting the 2024 millage rate at 6.8691 mils, which reflects a 4.19% increase over the rollback rate of 6.5926 mils, as certified by the property appraiser.
Okay, got a motion? Got a set? Should we do both these at once?
No,
Or
let's
do it separate? Okay,
please, thank you.
okay, great. All right, okay, so we've got a motion on 684 and a second, correct? Harry? Okay. Kaylee, go ahead.
Vice Mayor Thompson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
Councilmember Jarms, Mayor Blair.
Yes, and ordinance 684 passes. Let's go back to ordinance number 685.
Make a motion to accept ordinance number 685, followed by the mayor reading the statutorily required closing statement into the record.
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? Kaylee?
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
Councilmember Darms,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Thompson,
Yes.
Mayor Blair.
Yes, and ordinance 685 passes. So at this time, I will read the closing statement, correct? The City of Orange City's tentative millage rate for fiscal year 2024/2025 is 6.8691 mils, which reflects a percentage increase in property taxes of 4.19%, above the rollback rate of 6.5926, as certified by the property appraiser of Volusia County. The final budget hearing will be held on Tuesday, September 24th in the council chambers at 201 North Holly Avenue in Orange City at 6:30 p.m. Good job. Okay. Okay, let's move on to item number 1 in real numbers now. Absences, we have none at this time. Item number 2, presentations and proclamations. 2A, Lieutenant Jason Samsill, retirement proclamation. He's got a big smile on his face. The City of Orange City, Florida, proclamation. Whereas Lieutenant Jason Samsill has served in law enforcement for the past 31 years and is well respected by fellow law enforcement officers, civilians, employees, volunteers, and co-workers citywide. And whereas Lieutenant Jason Samsill began his career with the Orange City Police Department as a full-time police officer on March 10th, 1993. Jason served as a patrolman, detective, field training officer, traffic homicide investigator, SWAT team member, bicycle officer, narcotics task force member, patrol sergeant, and police lieutenant for the City of Orange City. Whereas Lieutenant Jason Samsill was assigned to the Investigations Division as a detective in 1995, he was promoted to sergeant in 1998, promoted to acting lieutenant in 2010, and then promoted to lieutenant in 2011. And whereas Lieutenant Jason Samsill is a graduate of the Southern Police Institute Command Officers Development Course in Daytona Beach, Florida. And whereas Lieutenant Samsill has received over 25 commendations and letters of recognition during his career, to include 2 life-saving awards, a heroism award, and hometown hero recognition. And, excuse me, whereas Lieutenant Jason Samsill has performed his responsibilities in an exemplary and professional manner and has provided distinguished and unselfish service throughout his career with the City of Orange City. And whereas on September 11th, 2024, Lieutenant Jason Samsill retires from the Orange City Police Department after 31 years of dedicated service. Now, therefore, I, Gary A. Blair, Mayor of the City of Orange City, on behalf of the City Council, recognize Lieutenant Jason Samsill's commendable service to the citizens of Orange City and express our heartfelt gratitude for his dedication, contributions, and commitment throughout his career with the City of Orange City. In witness hereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the official seal of the City of Orange City to be affixed on this 9th day of September 2024. Gary A. Blair, Mayor. Before we give him this, I'm going to share a little story with you. It can only take a second. Years ago, I didn't know Jason very well, and probably 20 years ago or so, and my ex-wife, her daughter's car caught on fire. Remember this? Down the alleyway here, and so we, scrambled, called the fire department and everything. Jason was the first to arrive on the scene. immediately. He didn't even blink an eye. He said, "Where's the keys to the other car next to it?" He jumped in the car. It was inches from the other one, pulled it out of harm's way, and saved the car. And I realized at that point, hey, this guy's the real deal. He didn't even think twice. Boom, he just got into action. And he has done that hundreds, if not thousands of times in his career. So, Jason, personally, thank you. Go ahead.
Amidst all of those accomplishments, I met Samsel about 2-3 years ago at my community, where he was giving senior citizens information on what they need to know. And come on, thank you so much. That's how I met you. So he does even that.
Yeah. Great job. Come on up, Jason. We'll present you with this.
Did they remember what he told you?
He probably doesn't even remember. I do. Oh, okay. They probably don't.
They can talk about frogs and stuff.
I don't think so.
Good job, Jason. Enjoy your retirement. Appreciate it. Thank y'all. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Chief.
Yes, sir. I understand you just did the fireman's job, is what I heard. That's what Yes, sir, okay. Congrats, Jay.
Let's give him another round of applause. He's a great guy. Hate seeing guys like that go. Okay, let's see.
Come back and visit.
All right.
Oh, that's funny.
All right, we're going to move on to item number 3, citizens' comments. I have a couple of our new forms here, no longer the pink slips. But these are pertinent to item 8A, so I'll wait on those. If there's anyone else that would like to come up and speak, anything in general, now's the time to do it. Seeing no one moving, we will move on to the consent agenda. There's nothing on the consent agenda. We'll move to item number 5, ordinances, first reading. We have none. Item number 6, public hearing / ordinances, second final reading. We have none. Now we're going to move on to a bunch of housekeeping items, right? Item 7, resolutions. 7A, resolution number 334-24.
All right, we have resolution number 334-24, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Orange City, Florida, relating to the collection and disposal of solid waste and recovered materials in Orange City, Florida, reimposing solid waste service assessments against residential property located within the City of Orange City, Florida for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, confirming the preliminary rate resolution, approving the rate of assessment and the solid waste assessment roll, providing for the collection of the assessments pursuant to the Uniform Assessment Collection Act, repealing all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
I could have probably made that a little longer.
That was long.
Devlin, yeah.
Thinking that.
Better her than me. That's, you know.
Devlin Moore, Finance Director. Resolution number 334-24 will serve to reimpose the solid waste service assessment for tax year 2024. The rate is $198.15 annually, or $16.51 a month per unit, which is an increase over the current annual rate of $189.80 per unit. pursuant to the preliminary rate resolution number 322-24 as adopted by council on July 23rd. The city published the required newspaper ad prior to this hearing on August 19th. Staff recommends council adopt resolution number 334-24.
Any questions or comments for Devlin? I'm going to open it to the public. Anyone from the public want to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council for discussion and/or action.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to recommend the approval of resolution number 334-24, adopting the final rate resolution for fiscal year 24-25, tax year 2024, solid waste service assessment.
Second.
We got a motion, got a second? No further discussion? Kaylee?
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
Councilmember Darnes,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Thompson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Mayor Blair.
Yes. And resolution 334-24 passes. We'll move on now to 7B, resolution number 33524.
All right, we have
I'm all in your
resolution number
space, aren't I?
335-24, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Orange City, Florida, relating to the provision of stormwater management services, reimposing stormwater service assessments against certain real property within the incorporated area of the City of Orange City for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, confirming the preliminary rate resolution, approving the rate of assessment and the stormwater service assessment roll, providing for a collection of the assessments pursuant to the Uniform Assessment Collection Act, repealing all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Great. Devlin?
Devlin Moore, Finance Director. Resolution number 335-24 will serve to reimpose the stormwater service assessment for tax year 2024. The rate is $16.50 annually per EBU or equivalent benefit unit, which is an increase over the current annual rate of $15.87 per EBU. Pursuant to the preliminary rate resolution number 323-24 as adopted by council on July 23rd, the city published the required newspaper ad prior to this hearing on August 19th. Staff recommends council adopt resolution number 335-24.
Any comments? Questions from the
No.
council? All right, at this point, I'll open it up to the public. Anyone from the public want to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council for discussion and/or action.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we accept resolution 335-24.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? No further discussion? Kaylee?
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
Councilmember Darnes,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Thompson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Graham,
Yes.
Mayor Blair.
Yes, and resolution 335-24 passes. Let's move on to 7C, resolution number 336-24.
All right, resolution number 336-24, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Orange City, Florida, relating to the provision of street lighting services, facilities, and programs throughout the Shadow Ridge Street Lighting Assessment Area, providing for the reimposition of the street lighting assessment for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, confirming the preliminary rate resolution, approving the rate of assessment and the street lighting assessment roll, providing for collection of the assessment pursuant to the Uniform Assessment Collection Act, repealing all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Devlin, you're up.
Devlin Moore, Finance Director. Resolution 336-24 will serve to reimpose the Shadow Ridge Street Lighting Assessment for tax year 2024. The rate is $155 annually per lot, which is an increase over the current annual rate of $135 per lot. This is the first increase since inception in 2017. Pursuant to the preliminary rate resolution number 324-24, as adopted by council on July 23rd, the city published the required newspaper ad for this hearing on August 19th. Staff recommends council adopt resolution number 336-24.
Any questions or comments from the council for Devlin? Anyone that public like to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council for discussion and/or action.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion
Gotcha.
that we adopt resolution 336-24, adopting the final rate resolution for fiscal year 2024-2025, tax year 2024 for the Shadow Ridge Street Lighting Service Assessment.
Got a motion?
I'll
Sec-
second.
Got a second? Any further discussion?
No.
Okay, I've asked did I get the public on this one? Yeah, okay. Kaylee?
Councilmember Darms,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Tiamson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
Mayor Blair.
Yes, and Resolution 336-24 passes. Let's move on to 7D, Resolution number 337-24.
All right, resolution number 337-24, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Orange City, Florida, relating to the provision of street lighting services, facilities, and programs throughout the Briarwood South Street Lighting Assessment Area, providing for the reimposition of the street lighting assessment for the fiscal year beginning October 1, 2024, confirming the preliminary rate resolution, approving the rate of assessment and the street lighting assessment roll, providing for collection of the assessments pursuant to the Uniform Assessment Collection Act, repealing all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing an effective date.
Devlin?
Devlin Moore, Finance Director. Resolution number 337-24 will serve to reimpose the Briarwood South street lighting assessment for tax year 2024. The rate is $72 annually per lot, which is an increase over the current annual rate of $62 per lot. Pursuant to the preliminary rate resolution number 325-24 as adopted by council on July 23rd, the city published the required newspaper ad prior to this hearing on August 19th. Staff recommends that council adopt resolution number 337-24.
Any questions, comments for Devlin? Anyone from the public like to speak to this resolution? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the council.
I'd like to make a motion to accept resolution number 337-24, adopting the final rate resolution for fiscal year 24-25, tax year 2024, for the Briarwood South Street Lighting Assessment.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? Kaylee?
Vice Mayor Tiamson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
Councilmember Darms,
Yes.
Mayor Blair.
Yes, and Resolution 337-24 passes. Last one. This is regular housekeeping. We do this every year. Item E, Resolution number 338-24.
All right, resolution number 338-24, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Orange City, Florida, approving the fiscal year 2024 to 2025 non-ad valorem assessment roll for the South Kentucky Avenue assessment area, directing certification of the assessment roll to the Volusia County Tax Collector, repealing all resolutions or parts of resolutions in conflict herewith, providing for severability, and providing for an effective date.
Devlin, you're earning your pay tonight.
Yes, sir. Devlin Moore, Finance Director, and this one's a little different than the other ones.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Resolution number 338-24 was served to reimpose the Kentucky Avenue assessment for tax year 2024. The Kentucky Avenue assessment area was adopted by council in May 2023, and it established recurring assessment rates for parcels that benefited from the Kentucky Avenue road improvements that occurred. Following adoption in fiscal year 23, 58 parcels, including Country Village, prepaid their entire assessment. These parcels have been removed from the assessment roll. The remaining parcels and their respective annual rates were listed in Appendix A of the resolution, and they total approximately $60,000 for next fiscal year. Because there were no changes needed to the tax roll, a preliminary rate resolution was not required, nor was a newspaper ad. This is not necessarily considered a public hearing for this one. Staff recommends that council adopt resolution number 338-24.
Any comments, questions? Anyone from the public like to speak to Resolution 338-24? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to, gotcha.
That council approve resolution number 338-24, adopting the final rate resolution for fiscal year 2024 to 2025, tax year 2024, for South Kentucky Avenue area assessment.
Got a motion?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion? Kaylee?
Councilmember Stafford,
Yes.
Councilmember Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
Councilmember Darms,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Tiamson,
Yes.
Mayor Blair.
Yes, and Resolution 338-24 passes. Let's move on to item number 8, discussion and action. Consideration for year 2024-25 sponsorship request. Maddie McAllister is up.
Good evening, Maddie McAllister, Public Information Officer. I bring before you the sponsorship request for this upcoming fiscal year, 2024-2025. Prior to beginning, I just want to mention we do have a council member that's come forward that would like to recuse herself from votes on 2 of the items we'll be discussing. We're going to move forward with the remaining items and come back to the 2 items that the council member won't be participating with.
Okay.
All right. So I want to start with an overview of this policy. I know we've all gone through this a bit, but just to get down to the nitty-gritty, this policy was initially adopted in 2016 by the City Council. There's been 2 revisions since, one in 2019 and most recently in 2022. Currently, that's the policy that we have enacted. The current requirements in this policy is that all applicants requesting sponsorship need to be a 501c3 or a nonprofit. They need to be open to the public, and the benefits of the program or event have to benefit the greater good of Orange City residents. We do offer 2 sponsorship types. We offer a monetary donation up to $1,000, not to exceed 50% of the total budget. And we also offer in-kind services or staff time with no limit currently. The sponsorship fund for this year's proposed budget is $30,000. We have $14,000 set aside for line item funding. We have $16,000 for other sponsorship opportunities, and that is given out in increments of $1,000. The line item funded items are the Blue Spring Manatee Festival, the Orange City Cirrhosis Club, the Everybody is Somebody Multicultural Heritage Festival, and the DeLand Chamber and University High School's School of Government program. The application process that everyone goes through in order to be eligible for these funds. This is applicable to all applicants, whether they are line item funded, whether they are first timers, returners. This is what everyone has to go through. Once their application is filled out, it has to be submitted to the Public Information Officer, which is myself. It's then evaluated by the Sponsorship Review Committee. It's a staff committee from various departments across the city. And then that committee takes a recommendation for approval or denial, and we present it to you, the City Council. The City Council has final say on approval or denial. The requirements each of these applicants have to adhere to is submitting a detailed description flyer if it's an event or program. They have to submit their IRS determination letter, which is their tax exempt, their W-9 for tax identification number, their TIN, and a proposed budget for where the money would be going. For recurrent requests that have been supported in years past that are coming back again, we do ask that they submit a prior year's actual budget showing any profits, any losses, and where the profit money has gone. So the first item that I'm going to be discussing is the Backpack Buddies Schools Out Festival. This nonprofit is requesting a total of 2 Parks and Recreation personnel, and it will be $439.68. They're asking for no cash donation. They're asking for a waiver of the city application fees, advertising, and the electronic signboard. The special event application and permit will be required for this. This is an out-of-school fest that will be held on May 31st, 2025 at Veterans Memorial Park. We're going to be voting at the very end. The second item is the Backpack Buddies food drops. They have an in-kind service request of 1 police officer and 3 public works personnel. This is going to be held at PFC Bennett Memorial Park. They're requesting $21.29 per drop. There are proposed 4 food drops. It'll be a total of $1,685.16 in in-kind services, no monetary. Yes, ma'am.
So the reason that it's more is because we're having more personnel for Valentine Park, right? This one time? No?
This is your one for next year.
Oh, okay.
And next year, you're proposing 4 events at $421
Okay,
each.
thank you.
So the total is $1,600.
Sorry.
And just to add, the reason that we had to bring that back to council was because we undershot the estimate around 380 this year. This is based off of your December 1st food drop that took place at PFC Bennett, so this is more of an actual. This nonprofit is also requesting waiver of city application fees, advertising, and the electronic signboard. And I apologize, there will not be a special event application. I know that it says that on the board, but it will not be. The next item we have is University High School Homecoming Parade and Pep Rally. The high school hosts their homecoming parade and pep rally on September 28th, 2024. It's going to be a parade down Volusia Avenue headed south from French down to Ohio, I believe. And then the pep rally will be held on University High School premise. The in-kind service request is 1 administrative personnel, 2 fire department personnel, 4 parks and recreation personnel, 22 police department personnel, 6 public works personnel, and a note that we also add in $960 to reimburse or pay DeLand Police Department to assist with zone coverage. So you have a total of $4,078, let me try that one more time. $4,781.21 in in-kind services for Orange City personnel, Orange City staff. And then you have an additional $960 going to DeLand Police Department. So the total on that is just over $5,000. The Small Business Development Program Incorporated Country and Bluegrass Music Festival, their in-kind service request is for 3 fire department personnel, 2 parks and recreation personnel, 2 police department personnel, and $1,000 cash donation. This is a total of $1,979.98. They are requesting advertising on social media and the electronic signboard, and this event is held at Mill Lake Park, so it will require a special event application and permit. Next up, we have someone that is a little bit new. It's Manatee Cove Elementary. They're requesting monetary donation for student and staff recognition. This is good attendance program. This is teacher appreciation. This encompasses all. They are requesting no in-kind services, so 0 across the board, and the request amount is $5,000. The University High School DeLand Chamber is requesting the School of Government program. This is where we'll begin getting into our line item funded. So their in-kind service request is 7 administrative personnel, 1 fire department personnel, 2 police department personnel, and 4 public works personnel. They are requesting a total of $1,304.12 in in-kind services, no additional monetary, but to keep the the line item funding of $1,500. The Everybody is Somebody is an additional line item company, and they are requesting for the Orange City Multicultural Heritage Festival. They are requesting 1 administrative personnel, 3 fire department personnel, 1 parks and recreation personnel, 2 police department personnel for a total of 7. They're requesting a total of $1,973.66 in in-kind services, an additional $2,500 monetary sponsorship, and their line item funding of $2,500 complete. They are going to be requesting advertising on the electronic signboard and social media, and this event is held at Mill Lake Park, which will also require a special event application and permit be obtained. The next item we have, another line item funded, is Orange City Blue Spring Manatee Festival. They are requesting in-kind services of 4 fire department personnel, 4 parks and rec personnel, 9 police department personnel, and 3 public works personnel for a total of $10,103.47 in in-kind services. They are requesting no additional funding other than the $5,000 line item. They are also requesting advertising on the social media sites and the electronic signboard. This will be held at Valentine Park, which will require a special event permit application. The last item is the Cirrhosis Club of Orange City. The Cirrhosis Club of Orange City is requesting their line item funding of $5,000, and on the screen is 4 events that we will be supporting. The Haunted House, they're requesting 0 personnel for in-kind services, and $2,700 of their $5,000 would be allocated towards the Haunted House. The Easter egg hunt, they are requesting 2 Parks and Rec personnel and 3 fire department personnel for a total of $487.73, $0 in monetary sponsorship for that specific event. The Summer Splash Bash will be an in-kind service request of 1 Parks and Recreation personnel for $117.25. No money from the line item would be allocated to that event. The Operation Santa, they are requesting 0 staff time, 0 in-kind services, and $1,000 of the line item would be reallocated to that. That leaves them $1,300 that goes to their youth programs, which is not up on the board. It's just a program that they donate towards the youth. The total for them would be $604.87 in in-kind services and $5,000 line item. They're also requesting waiver of city application fees and advertising on the electronic signboard and social media. Some of their events are held at city parks, so they will require a special event application and permit. So now that we've ran through all of those, these all went to the sponsorship committee previously, and we're gonna do everything except for the 2 backpack buddies now. The sponsorship committee recommended approval of all items on the board, and their scores out of 125 with alignment to the strategic plan was University High School, 116 out of 125, Small Business Development, 94 out of 125, Manatee Cove Elementary, 50 out of 125, University High School and DeLand Chamber School of Government, 114 out of 125, Everybody is Somebody, Multicultural Heritage Festival, 103 out of 125, Orange City Blue Spring Manatee Festival, for the Manatee Festival, 124 out of 125, and the Orange City Cirrhosis Club, 122 out of 125. Some of these requests have been adjusted. What the sponsorship committee recommended that is different than the requesting items is the Manatee Cove Elementary for student and staff recognition. The sponsorship committee recommended $1,000 donation opposed to $5 for student and staff. And the Everybody is Somebody Multicultural Heritage Festival, they requested an adjustment in their line item funding. I'm sorry, this is wrong on the screen. The line item funding is approved. We are recommending approval. We are not recommending approval of an increase in monetary donation. We are unable to make that recommendation. And the applicant would need to come here on this hearing and discuss it with you all to increase or decrease line item funding for themselves. So those are the 2 big changes that we have. So these are the items that we'll need discussion and action on. Everything from University High School Homecoming and Pep Rally Parade down to the Cirrhosis Club.
Well, naturally, University High, both of theirs have the highest ratings, correct? Right?
I believe the Manatee Festival was at 124.
Oh, okay, so
They're higher, yes.
all right. I was just trying to give them a little plug.
Give 'em a little
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so, any questions, comments? Everybody's
I'd
good?
like to hear the citizens' comments
Yep, that's
first.
next. All right. Citizens' comments, I've got a couple here. Leah Brooks, come on down.
No pressure.
Okay, Leah Brooks, 313 West French. Hearing that something is nonprofit immediately gives a sense that an organization is trustworthy, and it shuts down critical thought. But it should not. It's your job as the council to dig a little deeper. Some things are obvious. The Manatee Festival made so much money last year that they gave away $37,000. It's obvious they don't need $15,000. They are self-sustaining. The Manatee Festival gives money to the Cirrhosis Club each year. They serve on each other's boards. So the money flows from the city to the Manatee Festival to the Cirrhosis Club. That should be looked into. The Cirrhosis Club their application is incomplete. They were supposed to provide the previous year's actual budget with revenues, expenditures, profits, and losses, along with an explanation of how any profits were used, and they did not provide that this year, nor did they provide that last year, but that was overlooked. Speaking of records, Everybody is Someone did not respond to my legal request for a copy of their finances. They're asking for $6,500 or so this year from the budget. The Cirrhosis Club made $26,000 profit on their haunted house. The Cirrhosis Club reported they had over $60,000 in the bank last year. This information is whited out in this year's budget. But this is not an organization that is in need. Ask any citizen if their tax dollars should be given to organizations that are loaded with money or don't provide financial accountability. I believe most citizens would say, give it to the police. How about if we have an animal control officer over the weekend? That's a real need. How about we fix our roads? They would not say, please, Orange City, give our money away to organizations that are not accountable. For all the nonprofits that are in this city, and there are many, it's only 4 that get the bulk of the money. Are they really more worthy than the other organization that hold events, feed kids, take care of animals, give out scholarships, et cetera, et cetera? It's clear to me in researching how Orange City funds nonprofits that it's not value neutral. Public funds are flowing into some nonprofits and not into others. Some nonprofits receive up to 15 times the amount of that other nonprofits receive when you factor in income and monetary, and others are denied a single penny. To me, the way that the nonprofit is deemed to be worthy depends wholly and completely on the relationship with the council, former council members, present council members, and the city. And it kind of stinks. It breeds an environment of entitlement. Just look on Facebook. The comments, attacks, aggressions, lies, and accusations are disgusting. And it's clear when these practices are scrutinized by me, private citizen, or council members, the scrutiny is received badly. I see people who say, this is the way it's always done. Don't upset the apple cart. Well, I'm upsetting the apple cart because I want the council to take a really good, hard look at what's going on. Please don't give these nonprofits a pass just because they do good, and they do good, but that does not give them a pass. The taxpayers depend on you to spend our money wisely. Thank you.
Good time.
Thank you. Wow, 3 minutes.
All right. Cassidy Bird?
Good evening, City Council members and Mayor Blair. I'm Cassidy Bird, Vice President of the Class of 2025 at University High School. I speak for our nearly 3,000 students when I say we appreciate your support of our annual homecoming parade and evening pep rally. It's one of the highlights of the year when UHS students and faculty get to share our school spirit and tradition with the entire community. Our homecoming theme this year is Enchanted Forest, and I can't wait to see the creative floats our clubs will design. Mayor, we would love for you and the City Council to join us, along with local businesses and organizations. It's a wonderful opportunity for the community and students to come together and celebrate. A special thanks to the Fire, Police, and Parks Department for their support in making this event possible. They are always incredibly professional in the planning and execution of this event. It couldn't be done without them. After the parade, we'll be hosting our evening pep rally at the school's bus loop, featuring music, performances, and the presentation of our homecoming royalty. We would love to see you all there. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
What's the theme again? Enchanted Forest. Okay. Enchanted Forest.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to speak on this? Come on up, please state your name and address for the record, please.
Jennifer Larson, 439 East French Avenue. I am against the line item. I think it needs to be made fair across the board. By giving such large amounts to, specific organizations year after year, you are shutting out other organizations that would like to have, an event. I personally would like to see it be $1,000 maximum, and then you can't stack it. You get $1,000, that's it, because then it opens up the door for other organizations to come forward and get the community involved. That's it.
Thank you. Come on up.
Good afternoon. My name is Sharon Safford, 461 Clark Street, Orange City, Florida. As I sit back there, I'm appalled. The city of Orange City is something that I do and live in with pride. And for us to sit here, this person don't get it, this person don't get it, this person should get it. The application process is open to everyone. Anyone who chooses to apply for the application process is open, unless I'm saying something that. So for to sit here to say this person get it, this person don't get it, it's open. So why we're here talking about some get it, some don't, this person shouldn't, and this person make too much money. If anyone have been in the process of putting on an event, everybody that does these events is volunteering their time. They're not asking for a dime for anyone. It takes a lot of manpower, a lot of running here, running there to put these events on. I've been in Orange City, I can't tell y'all how many years, but I remember Miss Lowe's store was here, and we have always been a community that cares about our community. You know, I remember I was a small child when our mayor got sick. Not the mayor we have now. Needed a heart transplant. No one came. The community supported that. Everybody got their pockets, cooking chicken dinners, selling chicken dinners, walking the pavement for our mayor because we care about our community. And for anyone to sit here not knowing where we come from, but all they want to see is where you're going. And I think that we need to have some consideration. Yes, I am a line item, but I tell you what, I work my tail off to get the things done, to make our city proud of an event that we put on. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to the council? Okay, seeing none, I'll bring it back to council for action, discussion. Yes.
I just wanted to comment on Ms. Stafford's comment about, I think what they were saying earlier is that not everybody gets to be on the line item. It's, you know, there's only four organizations on the line item. Yes, it's open to everybody to apply, though, for the regular sponsorship part, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, first of all, I think every public dollar is the community's money, right? So every dollar that comes into us, we have to be responsible for it and be good stewards of the money. That's our job. You know, I've been thinking long and hard about this, and I think that all these groups do great things. I think that if I had to come to a solution, it would be, I think someone said it out there, $1,000 cap on an organization, not a program. So that way it's spread out throughout the community. If anybody wants to apply, then they can apply for $1,000. I think we should do away with the line items except for one organization, and that is the School of Government, only because that particular organization is bringing up leaders in our community like ourselves and encouraging them to learn government and the processes and things like that and the policies. And I think that's in our wheelhouse. As far as the events, I think it's got a little out of hand with the events as far as giving out $30,000 for events. We're not a huge city. We're not real tiny anymore either, though, right? So I think that we should leave the in-kind alone because I know that the Manatee Festival depends on that, you know, because it is a big event. And, you know, a lot of the other organizations depend on that too. So that could really shut down some of these events. But as far as the line item organizations that are on the line item, you know, I looked at all their budgets. I looked at everything, and I'm sure you all did too. But it just looks to me like when you have an event, the city gave you a little bit of a beginning to get things going. And some of these events have been going on for years. And after so many years, you should be able to self-sustain your event with growing each year. And if you don't grow, then maybe that shouldn't happen anymore. Or maybe you need to reevaluate how you put your event on and figure out how to make it grow. But it shouldn't be on the taxpayers' dollars, my opinion. Thank you.
I agree.
The way, go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. First, I think Orange City has a long history of wanting to make sure that the charitable organization that provides services to our citizens succeed in their mission. We have for many years provided funding and in-kind services to the Cirrhosis Club, the Manatee Festival, Everybody is Somebody, and the School of Government. To provide events that are available to Orange City residents and visitors. I would like to continue this tradition, and I'm proud that Orange City sponsors these events and is associated with them. Ms. Marks, I think it's commendable that your organization only needs in-kind services. I really do. You, K-Marks Enterprise, or K-Marks have been doing this for years. These other organizations, they haven't gotten to where you are. Somebody gave you a stepping stone to help you along the way as well. So I think it would be robbery to rip away this type of services to these organizations that has been providing this service to our residents for years. And I would like to keep funding all the organizations that applies for both monetary and in-kind services.
All right, thank you. Anyone else have
Can
any?
I rebuttal to that
Alex?
real quick? Do you
No,
mind?
let's go around.
Well, my, what I'm gonna talk about, it's not gonna be probably popular with a lot, but, I understand sometimes your emotion takes over people's decisions, but I'm not up here to emotionally make decisions. I have to deductively reason why we do and do not do things. That's what I'm up here for. That being said, Ms. Stafford talked about you work hard with your organization. Well, people probably don't know that I'm a sitting board member of two nonprofits. One's 501(c), one's a 504(c), I believe, because they have lobbying powers. We sit down all the time trying to figure out how to raise money for charities and events that we put together. Not once have we ever asked a city government entity to give us any funds. I don't think that's their decision. I've had to sit here when a past council member told everybody, asked Dale, our city manager, how much is our budget? Oh, it's $20 million a year. So he says, 20 million, what's 5,000? Well, that's 5,000 of not your money, okay? That's 5,000 of not your money. If I want to irresponsibly spend your taxpayer money, I will work for Congress, because they have no iota of how, it's like me sending you to Walmart with $200 gift certificate, and you come out of there with $20,000 worth of stuff that you yourself are not paying for. You're sticking us with the bill. That's what our federal government is doing every single day, to the detriment of our kids and our grandkids. I'm not going to do that. So I'm against giving monetary funds. I am 100% for in-kind. For in-kind, we're talking about public safety, sanitation, stuff that we need. That's why I'm a little perplexed with the Cirrhosis Club having 3 or 4 events and asking for in-kind. I was a prior police officer. You got kids out there, you got people throwing trash on the ground, there's pedophiles walking around amongst you. I don't know if you understand that. Public safety is important to me. So to me, in-kind, I have no problems with. But we have never sent a survey to our citizens to what charities we should be giving to. That is not our business. That's not our business. We sit, like I said, I'm a sitting board member of 2 non-charities. And you know, we're lucky here in Orange City. We get with Walmart, we get with Home Depot, we get with Advent has their own representative that gives out money, food for your events. Halifax, hit those people, hit those organizations. It's not our business to be giving out money. So I'm sorry if some people here says that we've been doing it all along, they're part of the community. Well, you know what? I do a lot for our, but just because it's a passion of mine, for veterans, active military, raising awareness to their needs and sacrifice, along with our first responders, fire rescue, EMT, and police. That's my passion. Maybe you don't see them out there. You see a lot of events with kids and families, but your veterans and your first responder, retired and active, are also part of your community. All right, I do a portion of that of my own time. My wife will tell you that I'm all over the place. So when you say you work hard for your charity, you're not the only one. And not only that, you know, I'm taking veterans to their appointments. I'm talking to them on the phone because I feel that they're going to be part of the 22 that wants to end their lives. I have constituents that call me that ask that, you know, a hurricane is coming and they think a tree is going to hit their house. But we can't encroach on our property. It's private property. The city can't do it. So what do? I put a group of volunteers together and take care of that, cutting that tree. As a matter of fact, my grandson was acting up, so he headed up a lot of the volunteer work. Be creative. Stop feeling good for just getting money. Be creative. All right. So I am not in favor of giving out money. I am 100% for in-kind because I think it's necessary. That also being said, in-kind costs us a lot. The Manatee Festival costs us a lot in kind. And a lot of people out here think that that's not money. That's money. That's resources we're taking away from regular citizens that we're concentrating on those events. So as far as I'm concerned, no to money, in kind, yes. And people don't like it, I'm sorry. If I wanted to be liked, I'd own an ice cream shop. That's not what I'm here for. All right, thank you.
Anyone else?
Yeah, I can remember years ago, don't know how long ago, I remember being part of the audience and getting up and thanking the council for being good stewards of our town's money, because I listened carefully where the money was going. I never heard any of this stuff back then. And I'm not saying that people can't, ask for help if they need it, but I'm very much in favor of maybe drawing lines, maybe having what can we give, what won't we give, and if somebody's going to be expecting that they're going to get 5,000, no. Maybe we ought to set boundaries at 1,000 or 15. My exception here would be for the high school, because that's a big endeavor, and those kids get themselves involved, and I have to back something like that. That to me is a little bit of a different story. But in general, I think if you have, and I think about it, how many organizations are maybe holding back because maybe we're going to run out of money to be able to give people to do their events. So I'm in favor of maybe putting up more draw the line kind of thing as to what we would give and get really good details on what is being expected of an event before we give. That's it.
All right, Harry, you got anything?
The only thing I'd like to say is I'm inclined to what Alex has said. I agree with him wholeheartedly. The majority of cities in Volusia County have done away with handing out these checks. And some of them, or most of them, are a lot bigger than we are. But yet we're still handing out checks. So I think he's on the right I think that's where we need to be, to do away with the monetary.
My feeling is we're in the middle of the game right now, okay? I would suggest that we keep it as is for this year. If the next council would like to change it and change the rules and the parameters, that would be fine. Some of these people are dependent on this money. They've figured it out into their events and how they're going to use it so far. To me, it's changing the rules mid-game. They've already come and submitted and gone through pretty much all the process. Or the alternative is just don't give any money at all to anybody, okay? So you've got alternatives there, but I don't think right now is the time to be, changing when these people are pretty much dependent on it.
I wanted to comment on Ms. Stafford's comment about K-Marks, which is my events company. And I started that from scratch 20 years ago. And I can tell you that I didn't have a stepping stone. I worked my butt off for 20 years, and that's why I know how to do an event good now. And one of the things that I learned through the 20 years is that you have to go out and ask businesses for money. And governments don't want to give you money. So that's one of the things that I learned is you have to go out and talk to people. And that's what I encourage all the nonprofits to do, is to go out and talk to people, because people do have money out there and they will support events like this. All of them. You know, you just have to ask, especially when it has to do with children, right? So, or high school or anything like that. And that goes the same for Backpack Buddies, which the same thing. It was started from scratch, but I went out and asked people for help, and that's what you have to do. So nothing was handed to me on a golden platter by any means. I worked hard. I put events together that are probably as big as the Manatee Festival, if not bigger, so I know how much time goes into it and volunteers and things like that. So I appreciate that. I understand that we're in the middle of the game, Mayor, but I feel like we still can fix this. We just set the budget, right? I think we need to amend the budget for the sponsorships. If they depend on our money, then that's a problem, because most of these things have been going on for a little while now, so they should know, okay? If you depend on our money, then maybe you're not self-sustaining, is my point. So, but maybe we shouldn't cut them totally off. I think maybe we should just offer them the $1,000 this year, and let's keep it at that. I think that was mentioned a couple times, so that at least they have something. When I looked at the financials, for example, the Cirrhosis Club, we're giving them $5,000, but if you saw the slide, $2,700 goes to their haunted house, which they make over $25,000 for. And if you look at their bank account, which was whited out on our report, but last year's was about $60,000 in the bank. So all I'm saying is just pay attention to the budgets that were handed to us, because that's our job. And I only use that as an example. There's other budgets that were in there, and see where they're spending their money. And I just don't think it justifies taxpayer money to spend the money on the things that they're doing. We are not an investment company or a bank. We do not give them money to make money, okay? So if they have money in the bank, like last year, which I'm assuming that they do because I don't have any report of what they have in the bank, then they should have that $5,000 seed money to get started on their events. Most of the events that they have are free to the community, and I'll say this over and over again, I'm not against any of these events or programs. I think they're great. I support all nonprofits. I just think that up here, this is not our job to hand out $5,000 checks. Nobody else does it in Volusia County. Why are we doing it? Thank you.
Alex?
All right, I digress on the one item. It's University High School's School of Government. That's a unique setup where I think Florida League of Cities put together 3 cities or municipalities funded, and it's basically fostering leaders in our community. You know, the kids aren't asking for money, it's the organization that runs it needs that money. So I'm open to giving to that. But I have a question with Manatee Cove Elementary student and staff recognition. I mean, you need money for that?
I believe the applicant is here.
Is there somebody that can
Dakota?
tell me what this is all about? Because
I agree.
I've had recognition when I was little, and I didn't take any money. I didn't take any funds. Go ahead.
Come on up and speak into the mic. And I'm not the applicant, but I can speak on it. If you're going to speak on it, you've got to come up and speak into the mic for the record, because it records it.
Tara Cerquez, 129 South Sheridan. The program for Manatee Cove, this year the school budget lost a lot of funding, and some of the programs that got cut was the teacher appreciation, the student and staff recognitions, the the approval or the awards for perfect attendance, honor roll, things like that. That was all put into the budget previously that was cut this year from Volusia County School budget. And they were asking for that just to be able to encourage the students to keep performing, and that goes a long way in those schools. That's what that was for.
Just a question. I don't understand how recognizing somebody or some of the students costs money.
For rewards.
No, I don't know what you use it for. I'm just
Okay,
saying,
so a lot
rewards?
of it is,
It's-
yeah, so we get gift certificates from local communities for ice cream, different things and prizes. We give them gift certificates if they get honor roll, if they get perfect attendance. Right now is National Attendance Month, and Volusia County Schools suffers greatly with encouraging attendance, and having the ability to reward students and encourage the parents to bring the kids to school is huge. So this goes towards putting on events at the school to help get the parents involved and show how important it is. And a lot of these kids are disassociated with school, and they need that reward to be able to, and I know it sounds counterintuitive, but bringing up the morale of the students, bringing up the morale of the teachers, it all coincides with getting better grades for the school, getting better attendance, and allowing better students through the school up into the high school that will then come on to the high school and DeLand School of Government program.
Okay. So I understand the essence of what we're trying to accomplish. But have you gone to your school board?
Yes, they
For
will not
this?
approve it. That was one of the line items that got cut.
That's on them, number one. Number two, gift certificates and money. You can't go to Walmart or and ask for gift certificates, because we do it all the time, and they give it out freely.
We've tried, but this is for the whole year for other items within the school for encouraging the attendance and things like that. It's not as simple, and a lot of stuff when you have 200 students or 400 students that need to help promote the perfect attendance, the honor roll and items like that. There's a lot of companies that just don't have that ability to do that, and $1,000 goes a long way with creating that encouragement and that interaction.
I also want to say, with regard to being excellent, that should be an expectation, honestly. I don't know, we can't punish them for not applying themselves, but if they're applying themselves and they're smart, I understand getting a certificate saying, hey, maybe, we'll recognize you in class, but I'm not, it's like throwing money at everything. And I think that you'll be better served if you went up to these different organizations and businesses and solicited for the funds that you needed.
We have, and we have attempted to get sponsorships from different businesses, and
You've got you got net. All right,
it's not as easy. It's not as easy to get. Sorry, it's not as easy to get the funding from different
Can you give your contact information to my city clerk, and I will work with you on that.
So I'll give you Mr. Conway, who originally did it. I was just here for a different reason, but I happen to be at the school too.
Thank you.
Alex, I will tell you though, as a teacher, morale is horribly low this year, and it costs money when they go in. Like if you go in the morning, there's some donuts and coffee there. You're like, wow, they must really, feel good about that. And I overheard a conversation on campus between a couple teachers that, and I'm not sure which group they were with, but they were asking each other if they had been out in the community in Orange City to raise money. And they said, yes, we've hit about every business around, and people are just tight this year. Nobody's giving them money. So it's not as easy. Maybe you have better luck than these other people, but
Well, how I'll address that is that a lot of our grown-up engineers, doctors, coming from India, coming from third world countries, where they start out in dirt floor classes. I think the part of the problem with our students is that the attitude and the atmosphere that we put on them, and that and I kind of get on my grandkids about this. Don't. It's not okay to be mediocre. Seriously, there should be some expectations. So, I think if they're excellent and you give them the proper affirmation, they will excel even more. But I don't think it takes money. That's all.
Marks.
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say is, generally you go for the PTA does that, and I don't know how their PTA is standing right now, but fundraisers and, school fundraisers or teacher fundraisers, I know they don't have a lot of time, but, usually the PTA takes care of that. Once again, I just don't think it's, maybe the school board needs to kick in that money for incentives. I get it. You want incentives to build morale. That's a good thing. You want kids to come to school. The new principal at University High, she's awesome. She actually put something in place to get kids to come to school when we all met with her. And she said, I just can't get kids to show up, or they're late. They're just not taking the responsibility. So, I said, well, I have a stepdaughter who thinks that she doesn't have to go to school, but she wants to be in the band. I said, I don't think she should play in the band if she can't show up and do her academics, right? And she said, well, that's why I put this in place, because if they show up, then, they're going to play in the band. If they don't show up, they're going to sit on the bench and they're not playing. And I got to tell you that from firsthand, it's working, because she's going and she's taking interest now. So, I just feel like it should be more within the school board and not so much the city of Orange City, footing that bill.
Well, that's all fine and dandy in a perfect world, but what we've done is we've set up rules for these people and said, hey, you can come and, it goes through a screening process, and they have done a lot of work to get to where they're at. But yet, and I think a lot of this is politically motivated, because we have groups that are conflicting now in the community with each others. But we've set up the rules for these people to come in here and for us to, and here now we're beating them up and saying that, well, kids don't need recognition. And, come on, people. Let's just go ahead, pass this through, keep it as is this year. If you want to change it, bring it up during new business, have staff come back, and they can set new parameters for next year. But we're changing the rules in the middle of the game here, and I don't agree with that at all.
Frankly, I was not thinking of doing any changes now where these are going to be effective, but for the future. So we need to set time to discuss this and set up the way it's going to be for the future.
Yes.
So I tend to agree right now.
Yeah.
We've gotten this far, we're just going to pull the rug out of everybody.
That's exactly what.
But after whatever the fiscal year, whatever it is, then we need to make changes. We need to make changes.
We definitely do.
Yeah, Ms. Marks?
Right now is the time. We just did the budget. We can ask them to bring it back and update the sponsorship policy. They can bring back the new rules if there's any. I thought tonight we were setting policies of what we wanted in the future. If we ignore this and wait till next year, then we're potentially giving out an extra $14,000, right, of the online budget items. And that's $14,000 that you just brushed under the rug because you want to wait till next year. And that's just not acceptable to the taxpayers. I think we should take care of it tonight, and that's it. Why wait? This is not politically driven. I'm not finished. This is us being responsible for the taxpayers' money up here. It has nothing to do with political things. This is about, it's time to look at what we're doing. We're not looking at what's being spent. We're not looking at, have you ever really looked at the budgets to see where our money's being spent? Have you ever held them accountable to say, what are you doing with our money? Are you okay with them spending? Is anybody in the audience okay with them spending $2,700 of our money to make $25,000? I'm not okay with that.
But
Okay, here's how you deal with it tonight. You pass this through as it is. During new business, you tell staff that you want them to look into this and bring it back, and you want to make some changes to it. But we could sit here for 2 or 3 hours tonight and beat this up and take, $1,000 from here and, 25, blah, blah, and it would go on and on and on, and we're probably still all not going to agree at the end of the night. So I would like to just see this go through, bring it up during new business. Staff will, I'm sure, gladly come back soon without pushing it off too far. And then next year you have guidelines and the parameters to go by to divvy this money out. But people have sunk their time into coming and preparing this packet, and now you're sitting here and saying, well, we ought to cut all these, and no, that's not good business.
Yeah, but the whole idea of it is the budget, right? We're supposed to set the budget.
We did.
We said it
We've
already.
We set the
done.
budget.
We've
Yeah.
already said it.
But
I think we're just kicking the can down the road. It's like typical government.
No,
Just
it's-
keep pushing it off, push it
No,
off,
no,
push it off.
it's not. It's instructing staff to come back at the next meeting or the meeting after, and then they have some guidelines, some set things. They sit down and talk with all of us, see what we want, and then we're not sitting here bickering amongst each other. And these poor people who have, taken their time to do the application, what they thought was the proper way.
Can we address this like after the new year, when the new year begins?
You can do it whenever you like.
why? Why would we?
Why do you want to put it off?
Because if this has already been predetermined,
It's
and
not
people-
It's not
predetermined.
predetermined.
It's already been
If
said.
it hasn't, then yeah, okay, but if it has, then
Yeah, but
I
I've
would say
already had
let's
public
let this go for this year and start January with all new rules.
And so we bring it back, like Mayor said, we bring it back, and we go through the same thing we're going through right now. Everybody's here, why put it off? Let's make a decision and move on.
No, you're cutting them off from money that they expect to get right now.
They didn't
If you
expect it
do
because we didn't approve it yet.
Right.
Yeah, but
Alex,
history.
Alex, what do you think, Alex?
I've already had public comments, but if you make it quick, come on up.
I just have a question for Millie.
Yes, good evening. My name is Gary Knight. I live at 1555 North Silverstone Road, Court, Orange City, Florida. I've been a resident of Orange City since 2015. We've moved up here and we've seen quite a things ago. And I've seen a lot of things as far as they talk about money and the city donating money. The more I listen to this, I think, like Councilor Alex said, I don't think it's about giving the money. I can understand doing the in-service stuff. That makes sense because safety and everything else in the in-kind service, that's very, very important. But to have an option as a taxpayer, okay, just spending my money here, okay, $5,000 to this one, $5,000 to this one, $2,500 here, and $15,000. I mean, that's $14,000, okay, and I'm the taxpayer. I mean, I'm already scrunched. I'm paying $5 for a dozen eggs and, $6 for a pound of hamburger, and you're paying tax on stuff, and taxes keep going up, and they go up. So as a citizen of Orange City, I do not think it's fair for these folks to come in and say, give me some money. I'm a 32nd degree master mason, okay, Scottish Rite, and we do a lot of stuff. We do a lot of charity work, a lot of benevolent work, but guess what? We've never come to the city and say, hey, give me $5,000 so we can help these orphan kids or these kids that need eyes. We raise the money we have events, small events, like, at Manatee Festival, you guys raise good money. I have fun there. It's great. But you raise a lot of money, and you can do a lot of good with it. But having been in like a donation center where everybody comes to you, I mean, I'm a Shriner, okay? We run the Shrine Hospital, but we fund it. We don't go to the city and say, give us a bunch of money. We say, we're going to go get this money, and all the Scottish Rite guys and all the Masons and the Shriners get together. We have our events. We run fairs and stuff. We raise the money. And we donate, to help kids. That's what we do. But we've never asked the city, give us some money. So anyway, I'm going to leave it at that. I think a $1,000 cap would be nice, and go with that. But I don't think we should sit back and say, wait till next year. We need to make a decision today while the budget is alive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Come on up, Janet.
Good evening. Janet Knopf, the CEO of the DeLand and Greater West Volusia Chamber of Commerce. I just wanted to make a quick clarification. First of all, Don Sorrow, who works at University High that facilitates the School of Government for us, is in the hospital, so he was unable to be here tonight. I just wanted to clarify that, as I understand it, was a program that was started here. I believe it was the brainchild of Dale Arrington. And Orange City came up with the idea of hosting a school of government to teach students at University High School about local government, actually take them to the different departments, put them through a 6-month program, and then it culminated in a trip to Tallahassee to be able to see it in session. That program, as far as I know, ran for a number of years, and then 2 years ago, the council had been contributing $3,000 a year. The Volusia County School Board had been contributing $4,000 a year. At the time, 2 years ago, Don Sorrow, who I'd not met before, came to the chamber office and said that the council had cut the funding by 50%. So they were down to $1,500 from the city, and the program was running, as he said, bare bones as it was. So he asked if we could help. We had been facilitating the DeLand School of Government. Next year will be 20 years. So the city of DeLand does contribute $3,000, and the school board contributes $4,000 to that as well. So we did go to the city of Orange, or the city of DeBary, and we're able to secure the other $1,500 that we were missing, so that we have been able to keep it where it was. Currently, that money certainly goes to the fact that all the students come to Orange City, and they also go to DeBary for different curriculum throughout the program. We take care of providing them breakfast and lunch, and then paying for their transportation, hotel, and food when they're in Tallahassee. And that's really all it funds right now. There are some other perks we would love to add. We give them certificates and do the graduation here, but we'd, of course, like to do nicer things. But at the same time, we're just looking to continue the program to help that keep going. And also, I think it's a little different than some of the others, but I'm not making an opinion on what's worthy and what's not. I'm just mentioning to clarify that's where that started, was here at Orange City. And we are working at the chamber right now. We've just formed a 501c3 arm, which we'll be announcing in January. And that was doing that in order to be able to fundraise for the trip to Tallahassee, and also to be able to apply for some grants. So I would like to see the program continue, because I think that those are the children or the students here that are aspiring to be you. They're aspiring to be good citizens, and we hope to keep them local. I do know that Don Sorrow mentioned to me that this year was a record number of students applied. 49 students applied to the program. We are only able to facilitate, based on the budget, 16 to 18 tops. Wow. So, and apparently the curriculum does not provide a lot on the government. So we were supplementing. Thank you.
Jan.
That's a good example, though. You know.
So this is a tough decision, and I really feel for you guys.
State your name. We all know
Sure.
who you
Leah,
are, but for
Leah
the
Brooks,
record.
313 West French. It is, the buck does stop with you guys. You know, it's not, this is not set. You guys are the one who vote on it, and that's what it says. And the reason why you ask for the past budget is so you can see where the money went to, how it was spent, how much money is left over, whether the funds were used appropriately, whether there's, extra money. So I looked at all the budgets. I requested them from all the organizations that were on the line item, including Backpack Buddies. And I looked everything over. And, from what I can see, everybody has money left over, except for Everybody Is Somebody. They don't. So I'm going to kind of throw a wrench in the, in the cog here and say, maybe you approve them. But that's why you have the budget. That's why you request last year's budget. So you can pick and choose who you're going to improve. And I would be completely willing to promote your great, fabulous events. And I know that you bring children in and you guys tutor them and you give them food and you do all these things. So I don't want you guys to suffer. I really don't. But I think the other organizations, well, besides University High School, they're not lacking money, people. That's why you ask for the budget, and that's why you look at it. So thank you.
Some people are making it sound like these people came to us and they're asking for money or begging for money and this and that. That's not how it is. We put this program together, we advertised it, it drew people in. They came in to play the game, they went by the rules, they've gone through all the scrutiny, and now all of a sudden, well, we're gonna change the rules because, well, it doesn't matter what we said 6 months ago that we were gonna do this, we just feel like changing it now because it needs to be changed. I don't think that's right one bit. I think, like I said before, keep it as is now, bring it on a future agenda, change it then, and then everybody knows what the rules are for next year.
I don't think it's about that we feel that we just want to change it because the weather's raining outside or something. This is budget time. It's time to decide to look at our finances, look at what money we're giving out, what money's coming in, and then to look over all of those budgets from all the organizations. That's what posed this pause, if you will. You know, when you look at those reports, you go, what have we been doing? We have not been paying attention. We need to pay attention to the taxpayer money, and I'll say I'm guilty. I've been on the council for 5 years. I never looked at really looked at their budgets, and I thought, oh my, there's one section, I think someone said it, where it's all whited out. It doesn't even have totals on there. We don't even know what was in those lines because it's gone. So that's why I bring it up, is because I'm looking at it now. I got my eyes open. I'm going, okay, it's time to reel it back a little bit, people, because we're not going to hand out $5,000 checks like they're nothing here. It's a lot of money. So
I wish we had this kind of discussion when we're building roads or we're doing other things that are really big ticket items, fire trucks, police. Where's the discussion then? Well, we're beating this up for $15,000. These poor people that have played the game, they played by the rules, and now you're saying, well, no, it's budget time. We don't want to do it. Go away. We're done.
it's not a game.
I just have a quick question for Millie. These items are as presented. It's just a yes or a no, right? We can't say yes on any kind, no on contribution, monetary contribution, or vice versa. We can't do that.
You absolutely can. You can give or deny anything you'd like. You can give Manatee Cove Elementary $500, and if they had requested in-kind services, you could grant that,
Okay.
one or the other.
That being said, I've already told the public where I stand on this, and I stand strong on it. But ethics-wise, and I don't want to say I'm leaning towards the mayor, 100%. But the thing is this also is that I believe also with as strongly as I don't think we should be giving money. We did set the rules, okay? These people looked at the rules and they saw an opportunity to get money from the government, as much as I don't believe in it, and they followed the rules and put the paperwork in. And with your grading system and your criteria, you gave them this passing grade. So I see that aspect of it. I don't like changing the rules in the middle of the game, but I will definitely, as new business, will bring this up as no more money for organizations. Thank you.
Ms. Arrington?
Just really, Gailey Arrington, just really one point that I want to remind everybody as to how we got here. And that is, prior to 2016, you had no policy regarding donations. And frequently, people came in and asked you to make ad hoc decisions and take money out of your contingency fund. And so after like 3 or 4 requests in the spring of 2016, council asked that a policy be prepared so that everybody would be considered their requests all at one time, so that you were not getting constant requests for $5,000 once a month to some organization that needed money for one cause or another. So I want to say, to that extent, it has served a very good purpose in that it has limited your funding from anybody coming in whenever they want to, asking you for money and putting you on the spot. And eliminating a program, chances are, unless you tell staff to no longer allow people to come and approach you for money, you will then be going back to a very unregulated way of people asking for donations. Just putting it out there, and you may need to be aware of that as you eliminate your sponsorship program and it goes back to making ad hoc decisions. And then you'll have to, gut up with your intestinal fortitude to say no when you're put on the spot. Right now, we corral anybody who wants money from you, and we make them go through a process, however imperfect it may be. The second point I wanted to make is that you have mentioned it, that there is a distinction between asking for cash dollars and in-kind services. And some of the requests that are before you tonight, particularly with in-kind services, are time sensitive. You cannot have a homecoming parade on a state road unless you provide the police services to close down every intersection. And I just point that out because, the decisions that need to be made, particularly on those in-kind services, are case sensitive. And as for, we do our best to try and cost out the in-kind services and to wrangle all of these charitable groups into complying with our application process. We are imperfect and they are imperfect. We have let organizations slide who write NA on their application in terms of turning in their entire annual budget, and we have taken that into consideration during the scoring committee reviews. We do our best to try and get everybody to comply with the rules, but and we accept applications even if they fill it out wrong. They know it says right on the application form the limit is $1,000. They ask for $5,000 anyway. We don't reject their application. We take it in, we present it to you, and it's in eloquent form, allowing you to make the decision on these things. So just wanted to bring up those 3 points for your consideration. It can either be done now or it can be done later, but you are going to need to take action at least on the in-kind services tonight. Because we did not know and that there were such strong feelings about changing the way we do things this year, we went ahead as staff and advertised it according to the last policy considerations we had, which were done in 2022, I believe, was the last revisions of the rules that were put in place. You can certainly change the rules or limit the funding tonight, but then I think if you want to take a look at developing more stringent rules, particularly in regards to in-kind services or the documentation that needs to be turned in, and empower staff to reject applications that are not submitted timely and are not submitted complete, then we need to have a more in-depth discussion on that. Our goal has been to facilitate, not to just outwardly reject everything.
I would like to say thank you. I think you all do a great job. I don't want you to think that you don't as far as putting this program together. I think right now, currently, anybody that comes in and applies for the regular sponsorships, not the line item, let's talk about that first. And correct me if I'm wrong, Maddie, it's $1,000, not to exceed 50% of the budget. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm not interested in changing that. I think that's a good program you got going. to open it up to all nonprofits to come and apply and go through the sponsorship committee. And then the other thing is I'm not against any of the in-kind, because I think it's important that they have that support from the city, because like Councilman Tiempson said, and I think Mayor said it, like or maybe it was Dale, the police, you know, the parades, they need that support. We need the safety of these events, right? So that's important. The only thing that I have that I would like to change is the ones that are a recurring budget item line, because how does that look if we send out the message that, you know what, we're going to give you 5,000, but we're not going to give you 5,000. We might give you 5,000, but we're not going to give you 5,000. It just needs to be consistent. It's not picking on anybody. It's not trying to hurt anybody. It's just being consistent with the rules and policies. And if we set our expectations, and you know what, you get a new council every year or every couple of years. Yes, you're going to have changing opinions, and it may change, and you may make a new rule. You may make a new law, right? That's the way it rolls. But the bottom line is what I'm hearing up here is the council doesn't like the way the line item is. There's the majority of the council saying, you know what? Why are we doing this? Why are we giving this kind of money out? Why don't we just stick to the regular program? Was you apply for $1,000, not to exceed 50% of the budget, and that's excluding one organization, which is the school government, because Janet had said from the DeLand Chamber that they're creating a 501c3 to raise more money for this program, and that's the way nonprofit world works. You have to raise your money. You cannot put your hand out to governments, because what happens is, I know from firsthand that when you borrow money from any government, they hold you to high standards. You got to show metrics. You have to show how you spent your money. I mean, you just don't give it to them and not check. And we haven't checked.
Okay, we need to move on with this.
I'd like to make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to remove the line items for 24-25 or 24-25 budget. They can come back and apply if they'd like and leave it as $1,000. How do I say it? $1,000.
Not to exceed 50% of the budget.
Not to exceed 50% of the budget, excluding the school of government. Leave that as is, and leave that one on the budget item line, because that's something that we created, and it's building government, if you will, local government, and it should be $1,000 per organization, not per program, per year.
I'll second that. I like that.
We got a motion, we got a second.
May I ask a clarifying
Yeah.
question? Does that motion deal only with the cash donation side of the?
Yes.
Okay, it was important that
Monetary.
that we understand that. So just the cash.
Just the monetary. Leave the in-kind as is.
So, and it is to reduce or eliminate the line items.
Eliminate all line items except for the school of government.
And they can come back another time and apply for their $1,000, or did
Correct.
you want to reduce them to $1,000?
And I'd like to add to that motion that we should offer the $1,000 to the entities that were on the budget item line as an offer.
He's gonna have to remove his second, and you're gonna have to restate your motion
Okay.
for an addendum.
You want to remove it?
So is your motion to reduce their line items to $1,000,
No, I don't. I want to remove it from the line item,
right?
and we will offer them the $1,000 like everybody else that applies, since they already filled out their application.
You will approve them $1,000?
Correct.
Okay.
That's
so-
what the motion is, to
okay.
approve them for $1,000 this year. So do we need to leave it on the budget item line for $1,000 this year?
No, you can, I think what I would do is eliminate the line items,
Yeah.
keep $30,000 in the pot, and just convert them to an approval of a $1,000 application.
Yes. So moved.
And that way you've still got all the money in there for a potential of 30 different organizations.
Right, and cap it at $1,000 per organization annually.
I'd like to address that.
Okay.
So the school budget, just so you're aware of it, is $1.2 billion a year. And the school budget in Orange City, we have 5 schools. Each one of those runs multiple programs that have come before you and receive funding during the course of a school year.
Right.
You might give $1,000 to the bowling team and $1,000 to the band and $1,000 to the elementary school.
Per organization.
No, the school board is the applicant on all of those. So I think you need to make an exception on the schools if you want to fund more than one school program.
Okay. So we'll
That-
make an
that's-
exception on school clubs and programs as it comes to us for approval.
Yeah, their tax ID number has been the Volusia County School
School
Board,
Board.
I believe.
Right.
So just wanted to clarify that because I didn't want to get caught in a technicality of not
No,
following
that's smart.
your rule.
And keep it as the
So-
50%, not to exceed the 50% budget. Am I clear on the motion?
I understand the motion with the clarifications.
I understand it. I don't agree with it. I will not support a motion that changes the rules in the middle of the game, like I've said 3 or 4 times already.
You made the motion?
Yeah. What's that?
Needs a new second.
I'll second it.
So do we have an motion and an amended, or we have one motion?
So we had a motion, we had a second, he retracted a second, she amended her motion, and he just seconded.
So we have one motion in front of us.
Correct.
Call it.
Councilmember Grimm,
Yes.
Councilmember Marks,
Yes.
Councilmember Darms,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Thompson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford,
No.
Mayor Blair.
No, and the motion passes. All right, sorry people who played by the rules. You know, that's, I guess, how we're doing things in Orange City now. We just kind of make up the rules as we go, so good luck.
It's not nice to disrespect your colleagues.
So,
May I add?
yes, ma'am.
We did not discuss this in the motion. We talked about schools in general being limited to $1,000 per organization. During your conversations, you talked about the School of Government program. And I do want to go on record by stating that was not a Dale Arrington START program. I did work on starting the one in DeLand. When it was successful, University High School and Mr. Don Sorrow copied it. And he came here asking for your assistance in getting it off the ground.
It's still a great program.
Yes. It is a wonderful program that is, you know, based on city government to a large extent. But what was your funding for them?
I'd like to leave that how it is. I think I stated that, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I wanted
Just
to
to
make
add
sure.
to Dale's comment a little bit, a number of our youth advisory council members for the city of Orange City also participate in that School of Government program, to take their education a little further, so just so you're aware.
Okay, let's move on. City manager's report?
No, sir, we need to deal with
Oh,
the in-kind
I'm sorry,
services.
okay.
That was only about the
right.
cash services.
Do you need a separate motion for that?
I do.
Like,
I need one that excludes Backpack Buddies so that you may recuse yourself from that vote, and you should state your recusal and the reasons for it.
I'll make a motion that we keep the in-kind services the way they are, excluding Backpack Buddies. Right?
Yeah.
Someone needs to second
Well,
it.
because she can't vote on backpack
Right,
buddies.
so she's just excluding herself.
I'm
but
going to in a
Backpack
second. You
Buddies
just
is
have to
included in
finish.
the- in kind.
And,
You want me to say it now?
yes, if you could please
Okay.
formally recuse yourself.
I'd like
Thank
to recuse my vote for this motion because I am the president of Backpack Buddies, and I think it's a conflict of interest.
Thank you.
So now you want restate it?
Sure.
Do I have to
Do your motion.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion that we keep in-kind services the way they are, excluding backpack buddies. All the other outfits, keep them as they are.
A second.
Just to clarify, is that approving all
Yeah.
in-kind services as they were stated,
Are you-
excluding backpack buddies?
Correct.
So we're not separating it?
Excluding backpack buddies.
Well, if she's not voting, we don't need to
Well,
exclude it, right?
right.
She can
That's what I-
vote on
that's what I'm
this
saying.
motion.
Okay.
She can't vote on the next motion.
Right.
Got it.
That'll be
Right.
just, okay.
That should be to approve backpack buddies.
Okay.
Did you get a second already?
Yeah.
Second.
Fran seconded.
Okay.
Okay, Kaylee?
Yes. Councilmember Stafford. You're not voting on backpack buddies currently. You're voting on all other in-kind services as presented, with the exclusion of backpack buddies.
So you can vote on this one.
Yes.
Councilmember Grimm.
Yes.
Councilmember Marks.
Yes.
Councilmember Darms.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Thompson.
Yes.
Mayor Blair.
Yes, and the motion passes. Okay, now we need another one.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve all in-kind services requested by Backpack Buddies.
I'll second.
Got a motion, go to second. Any discussion? All right, Kaylee?
Councilmember Darms.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Thompson.
Yes.
Councilmember Stafford. Councilmember Grimm.
Yes.
Mayor Blair.
No, and the motion passes. Okay, now, are we done with all? We can move on. City Manager's report.
It's been raining a lot. We are activating all of our stormwater controls and are running the pumps 24/7 around here to deal with the intensity and frequency of our rain. We are going to go ahead and rent a 8-inch pump until the one that we attempted to purchase last meeting gets straightened out, because we really need it. And are working with various homeowners associations throughout the city to deal with our stormwater problems. This morning, I attended the Volusia elected officials roundtable. It was an excellent roundtable. They gave out a presentation from each of the health organizations in Volusia County that provide countywide services, which would be Halifax Hospital, Advent Health Hospital, Stuart Marchman Association, and the Volusia County Health Department. And when I get the PowerPoint in for that, I will share it with each of you, because it had lots of good information about those services. And they also went on to explain about how the beach tolls will be lifted for Volusia County residents effective October 1. And you will have to register in order to get your free vehicle license plate pass. So I think when we get that information, we should share the Volusia County information with our residents on our website as well. So it was a good program. That's it for me.
All right, any questions of the city manager? Seeing none, we'll move on to the city clerk's report.
No report at this time.
Any questions for the city clerk? Seeing none. City attorney.
No report, thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, new business. Hearing none.
Yeah,
Oh.
I have new business. You can confirm this for me, Dale. Are we able to look into our policy of giving the monetary fund with regard to nonprofit organizations and just seeing if we can stop that?
So what my recommendation would be is that in January, you place this on your agenda for a full discussion. That way, we will have seated our new council, whoever they may be, and you can make the decision one time in advance of us advertising it for this coming fiscal year. Would that be satisfactory?
That'll be fine, thank you.
We'll put it on for a discussion in January for you.
Thank you.
All right, any other new business? Okay, we'll move on. Approval of minutes, we've done that. Council comments? Any comments?
I just have one. First of all, I wanted to say, we went to the Southerly ribbon cutting with the DeLand Chamber of Commerce, and they said that Orange City shows up. I had to say, like, they're real proud of us that we seem to show up at all the ribbon cuttings more so than some other cities. So I wanted to say that I'm proud to say that we represent our businesses in town. And then I also wanted to state on the public record that I do not have a domestic violence charge that was, brought up last meeting. I just want that to be publicly known that I do not have that. That was not true. If anybody has any questions, they can ask me. Thank you.
All right, any other comments?
Yep.
Okay, take a motion to adjourn?
I want to comment.
Oh, go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor. I just want to congratulate again our Lieutenant Semsel for his 31 years of dedicated service. Those who raise our hands to uphold the Constitution, military and police, I've done both. They're special people. I'm not calling myself special, but they run to the sound of gunfire. They're out here in the middle of the night when you guys are asleep. And 31 years is nothing to sneeze at. I did a total of 27, and I had to go. But I was proud of my service also, and I'm proud of Lieutenant Semsel. And I think it's a big loss to the city, but I'm sure that wherever he goes, his next endeavor, whatever entity it is, will be just as enriched as our city was by having him. A couple of things with the TPO, things are changing. I don't know if you know the logo that the TPO has, which stands for a transportation planning organization, is a palm tree TPO with a circle, and also it says river to sea. We are actually this organization is with Volusia and Flagler, so we were trying to incorporate that and make people understand that better. River to sea, they wanted to change. There was also some connotation, and they tried to kind of sweep this under the rug, but I'm not here to sweep anything under the rug. River to sea has some sort of connotation with what's going on in the Middle East, and they thought that was a negative thing, so they wanted to take that out. The new logo is going to say Volusia Flagler. It's going to have a drawing of a road on it with an intersection. And I think I actually agree with the new design. So I'm updating on that. Also with TPO, they have now come up with a bunch of subcommittees. The big thing, the big initiative is with FDOT, and I totally agree, is that we need to reduce our traffic fatalities. As I say that, we lost somebody on a bicycle here in Orange City from a traffic fatality. I think it's important. They have a mission to have 0 traffic fatalities, and as busy as I am, as I already told you what I do, I belong to a bunch of organizations, and I'm your vice mayor. I volunteered to be part of this subcommittee for safety because I think it's important. Just to lay insight, I think just because of my background, I think it's sad you don't think about this, but one of the last traffic fatalities I dealt with as a police officer was a father who was in his BMW out on Christmas Eve, I think because Walmart was the only place open. He wanted to do some last minute shopping for his kids, grandkids, and he was hit and died on Christmas Eve. Things like that is something we want to provide. Also, I laid insight into, I'm a little leery of AI, not AI. I think a lot of times AI makes stupid people and lazy people brilliant, but I saw something. If people know me, I'm always running audio and video in the background because I have tinnitus, service related, and You're Quiet is if it sounds like I got a jet engine all the time in my ears. I got that from the Marine Corps working on tank engines. That's neither here or there, but I heard, and I listened to like self-help issues that are, I think, is important to the city, and current events. But I heard something in the Midwest, or maybe all the way west, where they're using AI for traffic so that they can coordinate your traffic lights, your green and red signals. If they see a pedestrian or a bicyclist on that road, they'll coordinate things so that it's a lot safer. I think that's a good idea. That's something I'm gonna bring up to the subcommittee. So yeah, join the subcommittee. Now, on a personal note, it's getting with the elections coming up, and I'm not going to take too much time. I'm sorry. It's getting really tumultuous out here. It's terrible what I see. Just on a personal note, if you're running because you hate somebody, don't run. If you're running just because you don't like the other person, I ran because I had something to bring to this table. I believe. I'm a problem solver. I think the only difference between a problem and the solution is that everybody looks at it backwards. I think there's a solution for a problem, but there's a lot of people out here walking around that they have a problem for a solution. And you'll see them on the internet. You know, people complain about our water, and sometimes, sometimes it comes up short of the quality of water you think you're getting. But we have the Green Sand Initiative that's doing a lot. Well, we spend a lot of money, and those are the essential things that when we are up here making decisions, that's what we make decisions on, not throw money at problems. This costs a lot of money, but there was a need for it, and we put the money on it. You know, these people complaining about our water are the same people who buy stacks of bottled water, and if you do your research, you're drinking that forever chemical along with it just because it's in plastic. I do not drink bottled water if I can help it. I appreciate the quality of our water in Orange City, but I do it a step further because I don't like fluoride and chlorine. So I filter my water and I have it with me. I don't, people who think that they're high and mighty carrying this bottle of water because the quality of water here is bad. Well, you're putting that in the trash also, and that plastic is seeping into our water that you are all worried about. So kind of think out of the box, people. All right. I was just like fellow council member Marks. People are throwing stuff on the internet. I mean, will you honestly say these things if you're with them on the elevator? That's what I ask. Or are you just brave because you're behind a keyboard? I got painted because I said something that was very relevant to my daughters about me being a homophobe. This person accused me of being a homophobe. Maybe this person understand that I grew up in San Francisco, California. I was surrounded by LGBTQ gays and and lesbians, way before it became an in thing to carry around rainbow stickers and color your hair multicolored, have multicolored rimmed glasses. I'm not a homophobe, okay? So I think the problem we also have and need to address is that no matter how you feel bad about somebody, stop painting people with a wide brush, all right? If a police officer does something wrong, hold the police officer accountable. Don't hold the whole police department. When I was in the Marine Corps, I had a fight with someone from Kentucky. And I had to understand that this guy from the mountains of Kentucky have never seen an Asian, brown, or black guy, and he didn't understand. I had a fight with this guy at the detriment of the drill instructors seeing us, and we paid for it. And in the end, this guy kind of became a friend of mine, and he understood that this is a green team. There's no black or white. It's all green. We're Marines. I mean, I take it a step further. I married someone from Kentucky. I didn't take it. I didn't take it personal. I got profiled by the police. I became a police officer. Try to make things better. You know, don't paint people with a wide brush. You run into trouble that way. All right. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything? No, we're good. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Anyone? All right, second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?